Hello everyone. Today I'm going to tell you about a gripping novel. The story begins with the female protagonist heading to a mysterious place called Crest, where she encounters numerous challenges and dangers along the way. She is forced to confront her fears and anxieties while outwitting those who try to stop her. Just as she is about to reach her destination, an unexpected phone call plunges her into deeper trouble. The caller is someone she had thought was an ally. What exactly are the so-called allies' intentions? How will the protagonist deal with the challenges ahead? Well, unveil it all in this novel. 17. The Crest. Finally. Just when I thought I had to call Damon here to drag your ass into the car. Caden smirked, his devious nature on full display. I descended the stairs with practiced indifference, Leela clinging to my side like a frightened shadow. Her eyes remained fixed on the steps, avoiding Caden's predatory gaze that seemed to pierce through us both. Really? I hoped you'd have enjoyed your time alone without babysitting me. My voice was as cold as the morning air, my face and emotions as masked as I met his gaze unflinching. Likewise, he scoffed, his intimidating presence filling the space between us. He'll be back in a second. Have to make a phone call. Caden's wink sent a wave of revulsion through me, and I suppressed a shudder as he retreated towards the house, phone already pressed to his ear. Do you need a sweater? My Luna. Leela's timid voice reminded me of her presence. The chill in the air had seeped into my bones, but I shook my head, my eyes drawn to the misty forest beyond the fences. A part of me longed to disappear into that natural sanctuary, far from the suffocating world of power struggles and deceit. Are you sure? Leela's voice quivered with concern. I nodded again, hoping she would seek the warmth of the house without my prompting. You should go inside. Leela, I said, glancing over my shoulder. I wouldn't want you to get sick. She stood on the bottom step, fidgeting with her cardigan. Our eyes met briefly before she shook her head, silently refusing to leave my side. I offered a sad smile before turning back to the landscape. A peaceful scene was shattered by the screech of the silver gates opening, admitting 3 black SUVs that roared up the driveway at an alarming speed. They swerved around the circular flower bed, leaving dark tire marks on the pavement. The middle vehicle came to an abrupt halt mere meters from where I stood, its tinted windows concealing its occupants. I remained motionless, my defiant stance unwavering. Behind me, Leela's sharp intake of breath betrayed her fear, a stark contrast to my outward calm as we faced this new, unseen threat. Then I heard the passenger side door click open and slam shut in sync from the other 2 cars present. Young men in their early 20s. Step out 5 per each SUV, making a single line in front of the car facing me. They bowed in union, muttering Luna before rising to face me, their fists twisted behind them like soldiers ready for combat. I blank out for a brief second, but come back when a single young gentleman early 20 with ruffled brown hair arrives from the passenger seat of the SUV that was directly in front of me. My Luna. He chides just as predicted, but still ends up sending a shiver down my spinal cord. I nod stiffly, not moving my eyes from his. If my encounter with Caden and Drive, Rossi had taught me anything, it was never let your guard down, even when you're blinking. I glare at him plainly as he stands up straight, facing me with his gorgeous hazel eyes. God damn. Docent our mate had the sexiest guys with the cutest eyes ever. I thought I was about to cry from happiness. Is that you? I cry, wishing it were true. The one and only? She sings, but ends up wincing. If you have any shed of love in your massive pile of hatred for me, please take it easy on me for the next day or so. I end up smiling unwillingly, but then realize we have an audience. I look back up, loosing the least bit of my remaining smile, replacing it a blank look. My Luna, let me introduce myself. I'm Cotter, one of the Alpha's finest warrior, and I'm here to escort you on your trip. He answers smoothly, leading me to think, isn't Caden going to be my escort for the day? I ask, raising an eyebrow. That's what he explained to me. There's been some sort of confusion. I believe my Luna. I'm supposed to be your escort for the day. He replies, neither harshly or lightly but symmetrical in between. What I happen to believe is that you and Caden aren't on very good terms or well. That's the impression you give me. I say calmly, looking him in the eye. I expected some sort of outburst, but instead got a calm, well-thought reply. What I happen to believe. He restated my words, folding his hands back and looking right at me, is that you and Alpha aren't on good terms either, but yet you two are managing to torment each other. Just before I could give in my comeback, a snarl answered for me. Carter, what are we ever going to do with you? Caden scolded playfully from the top of the stairs. Beta Caden. He bowed, his tone neutral. Pleasant meeting you here. I wish I could say the same, Carter. My boy. Caden snapped. I turned back to face Caden, stepping down the stairs in a slow manner, his hands behind his back, like a scientist observing his experiment. By the time he was by my side, he rose his eyes to study Carter's face. Well, don't just stand here. Get the car started. He spoke, power lacing his voice, giving it a strong ring. The men bowed sharply and scurried back into the SUV, all except for Carter, who stood in front of us. After you, my darling. Caden tilted his head to the car, facing me. I exchanged glances between him and Carter before staring to leave. Then I charged away towards the SUV furiously. I glanced back out to see Caden speaking to Carter with his eye flickering with fury. Something Carter had said must have enraged him to the extent where he was practically yelling. Luckily, my eyes couldn't spot Leela anywhere. She must have fled when Caden had arrived, but again, a small voice inside me panicked. What if she didn't and was forced away? Was she okay? Horrible scenarios plays out in my head, and while they filled me with dread, I was able to hear Caden smack the driver door shut, snapping out of my head. My face twisted with even more dread, with Caden behind the wheel, which he easily spotted when adjusted the mirror. Don't fret. I'm in perfect condition to drive. I chew on my lower lip with anxiety, and soon after, the taste of blood filled my mouth. Oh really? I wouldn't hope so, because I had a wish of arriving at my pack in a coffin. He started the engine and so did the other two. Well, sorry for not making that possible, and just so you know, this your pack now. We were speeding out the silver gates now, and turning left. Leela, she's fine. Thank God she left before I arrived to see you with Carter, he said, gripping the steering wheel a bit tighter than before. Why do I feel like speaking of Leela to Caden triggers something? I wondered to June, but unfortunately, she was asleep to hear. I couldn't blame her either. Is everything okay between you and him? You seemed pissed, I asked, leaning back with my hands crossed over my chest. You could say so, he murmured. HES just tough you haven't made it yet. What the hell? I utter, straightening my back. Cause I'm not made it. What freaking difference does it make if I'm made it or not? Was he going to take pleasure in sniffing me? Well, I can guess he should has better stuff to do than sniffing you. He huffed, lightening his grip on the handle. Not smiling in return eventually made his smile drop too. What I meant is that Carter, and not only him but everyone in the pack, aren't happy with the idea of you roaming around without scent of the alpha. What, I exclaim, but he continues one. What that means is that, without you being mated with the alpha, Dame An has claimed you in the true alpha sense, and no one until then will claim you as their Luna in the proper sense either, and that's why they are acting like a pack of bitches to you. But Leela said Damon has to just introduce me as the Luna in front of the pack, and that's all. I cry frustratingly, rubbing my head with one hand. Well, she happened to leave the mating part out, didn't she? He glared from the rear mirror at my messed up state. You have to be marked and mated before being presented to the pack, he explains. Oh my God. Lilo, I sighed tiredly, leaning against the window. Without clothes, trees stripped from their hide of leaves were flying by as a blur as our car rode over the crisp fall leaves. A brief, blistering silence started to settle in which neither of us spoke. Caden's eyes were sealed on the road, but he stole glances back at me every second to check up. I mostly gazed at the outside world that I knew I wouldn't be able to see again. Anytime soon. I dealt with that bastard for you, he said minutes later. I look at him from rear mirror intensity. Drive Rossi. That name meant nothing to me, so I acted like that. My lower lip parted, but I sealed it quickly before he could see. I wanted to ask more, but I kept silent, guessing on my facial expressions. Caden could read me like an open book, so he kept adding on. Don't mind him. He's just a pervert, always in the mood for fun. Damon will be dealing with him soon. Neither did his name hold any positive, significant meaning in my life. I should have known he was trouble ever since he walked in. Ice cough. I was quoting Taylor Swift in a twisted way. Never thought the day would come. I never really listened to her, but I could probably bet her song weren't about having alpha issues. Not so soon after. The stripped trees vanished and were replaced by some small building. It looked like a town had appeared. There were a handful individuals bundled head to toe in sweaters, scarves and jackets, but the majority of the others were in slutty neckties, crop tops, tight exposed shirts and simple leather jackets not built for the harsh cold temperature. Of course, this was Damon's pack in his land. The cars slowed down as the roads became narrow. Shockingly, I spotted 5 nightclubs and under 2 blocks, all with flocks of people in revealing clothes clustered by the entrance. I even saw a couple of drunk people making love on the sidewalk. Welcome to Night's Land, Caden said cheerfully, seeing my confusion. The place that never sleep. Is this like Las Vegas? I ask with dismay, spotting only clubs and bars. Isn't there any school or playground? You want to see the playgrounds? He asked, raising any eyebrow. Forget that I even asked. I gesture with my hand, shaking my head disgustedly. I meant a playground filled with kids. Swing sets, slides, monkey bars, etc. I can assure you that you'll find all that here, but just not made for kids. He spoke, titling his head as if he were thinking. You might want to leave all that aside for now. You think. But seriously, where are the schools? We have them, but not here in Night's Land. He made a right and killed the engine in one quick motion. The second he swung open the door, the icy breeze came biting in. I wished I had my scarf, which Caden had thrown off, saying I needed to advertise my mark. What are we doing here? I asked, turning to Caden, who slammed the door shut behind me. Go enjoy and remember to be back when I mind link you all and remember. The girls at Nikki's palace are the best. He smirked, sipping his flask. It is as if someone had flipped of their combat mode to fun mode. They bowed delightedly and left eagerly, building plans and planning drinks together. Why are we here? I asked again, crossing my hands to preserve heat while he drank. You need something done, he said simply, before making his way to the entrance of the Tata parlor. Excuse me. Our feet meet in a slow jog to the door. I jogged a bit faster to block the door with one hand. He sighs and looked down at me. You need a tat, that's why, he said, crossing his hand. Who makes you the judge to tell me that? I seethe, leaning on one leg. Every red blood member needs one. He wrinkles his right jacket sleeve up, just so it's above his elbow. This, 3 overlapping rings. It had a thick layer of floating fire hovering just above it, was into his skin just above his wrist. I personally wasn't a fan of getting a tattoo, but something about its simpleness was yet breathtaking. That. I stutter, making his frown turn back into his smug little smirk. Scared angel. He perked, rolling his sleeve down. Oh, quite quoting Patch Ci Arpriano with me. I holler, fixing my posture. Who, he wondered, clueless lie. I smile innocently. My fictional boyfriend. That's who. Now may we. I yank open the heavy door with a sound of a trinket bell above our heads. announcing our arrival. The atmosphere was heavy with clouds of smoke, making it stuffy. Every inch of the wall was covered with posters of tattoo art or either of girls in their undergarments. The lights were a low red hum, casting an ominous setting. Yes. A low-pitched voice crawled from the door frame in front of us, which was concealed by beads on the strings. Now I knew why my brothers forbid me from going near a tattoo parlor. Caden, switching into protective mode, pushed me back, covering me with his back. Maya, you here? Ignore him. A calmer female voice rang from the either side of the room. A lady, late 20s with waist black brown hair and silver, looking nose piercing in a black revealing halter dress, appeared from the other room on our left. Maya, darling. Long time, Caden said, his shoulders relieved of their tension. I could say the same. She winked. I resisted the urge to gag. And you have a guest? The Alphys mate, I presume. She clicked her heels over. Uncle Wedge, eager to get a view of us with her hair bouncing behind. She's gorgeous. I could see her boobs threatening to spill out from her dress coverage. I locked eyes. I could say the same for you. Caden, impressed, turns back. He looks from me to her before speaking. She's here for the tattoo. The red blood crest. I see, was all she said. Come closer. I won't bite. I doubt the last part. She looked as if she were the evil queen from Snow White, ready to devour me any second now. I take 3 steps closer, so I'm just in front of her. I'm here for a tattoo, yes, but not the red blood crest. I say, keeping my tone equal and not leaving my eyes from here. Her aqua blue eyes itched with curiosity, but it was her who spoke. What do you mean? Caden barked from behind. You're his mate. I know him his mate, Caden. But if he didn't do this part of completing the mating process with me and claiming me as his equal, then why should I get his pack's crest permanently on my skin? I ask simply, making her eyes wide from amusement. They jumped from mine to Caden's nest before landing back on mine with a reply. Beauty with brains. The Alphys got himself a feisty one, I'd say. She smirked, swaying some hair back with her long fingers. We should get going. I chided, placing a finger in the air. He froze while her eyes rested on mine only. If I came for a tattoo, I'd wish to get one. She beamed on while Caden remained phased. But you said you're not getting the red blood crest. But I still wanted it. I claim again, still gazing at her. May I ask of what? She purred with a hand on her hip, her aqua eyes shining as deep as the ocean. This time I smirk, looking hard at her. Why, of the silver rose crest, obviously. 18 the home. Are you sure that Wolfsbane isn't still meddling with your mind? Caden asked for the 10th time in under 3 minutes, leaning against the wall staring as if I had grown horns. I grit my teeth, getting slightly ticked off. No, but you are right now, and I swear I might just rip your balls and staple them to your forehead if you don't shut your damn crap hole. Maya barks, laughing, standing up and wiping her hand on a rag. They're done. Have a look. I rose from the chair, sitting upright, my wrist stinging and slightly numb. Just when I was about to rub the area, Maya grabbed my other wrist. Don't touch it or itch it. The skin needs to heal, and you doing what I think you were about to isn't going to help. For such an agile-looking lady, I had to say she had a grip like a wrestler. What's that for? My voice cracked, gone hoarse from lack of water. A mild dressing for the skin. Take it off after about 2 hours. For the skin to breath, she said, wrapping it clear. Cling wraps or plastic around the tattoo. The tattoo was of the silver rose crest. Like I had told earlier, it was of a large silver rose, outlined in black with an elegant black feather tucked behind, but still appearing above the rose with a single green petal under. The bulb of the rose was on my inner forearm, but the feather traced itself around my wrist, inches away from my pinky finger. I got it done on my left hand, accidentally on the place where I should have gotten the red blood crest, despite Caden having his on his right. He had informed me earlier of females receiving theirs on their less dominant hand, like the tradition said. But yes, I know. My heart was racing, not only from the throbbing of the tat, but also from where the ivy bruise was. Unfortunately for me, I had two bandages on the same hand and also only centimeters apart. The pale bandaging of Drive, Rossi along with the bandaging of my new tat from Maya, would take a lot of explaining to my brothers, especially all in one day. Sucks to be me, I guess. There. Done. She patted lightly, smiling like the Cheshire Cat again. She stood up and so did I, only to fall right back down. Ouch. My head spun, my legs limping from sleepiness. She rose an eyebrow before hollering out to Caden to get his ass in here. Her smooth voice came as a slur to my ears, but I guessed it was just me, muttering to himself or to whoever. He strode in wearing a scowl and a phone pressed to his ear. His eyes fell on me after regarding Maya for about a second. Yes, it's over and I'm taking her back right now, he murmured, drinking again from his flask. Even his figure was coming out too blurry to recognize, but his voice confirmed it was indeed him. Yes, I know. Goodbye, Damon. He disconnected during the call angrily. What is it now? The Alpha's mate needs help, she hummed, gesturing to me with a flick of her head while striding right past him on her way out, disappearing out the door frame, before hearing another thing. I winced from a sting starting in my head, and before I knew it, I was effortlessly being lifted into someone's arm and walking out the door frame. Caden never paused to pay but just left out the main door, pressing it open with his shoulder. You forgot to save your breath, he snapped. The guards were nowhere to be seen as Caden gently placed me to my feet just outside the car door. He pulled the door open wide and helped me in without saying another word. He locked the door shut before I could ask him about the payment, and just when I was to yell at him to open the door, the same handful of guards returned, some sober and some sweaty, feverish looking. Round up, boys. Time to leave, he said, lighting a cigarette by his mouth. I rolled my eyes as the guards regrouped and stuffed themselves in the SUVs. Minutes later, Caden also hops in, flickering his cigarette but at the window. I cleared my throat before I could speak, but Caden beat me to it. Yes, I did pay for the tattoo, he muttered, starting the engine and merging into the driving lane. Even left a tip in your name. You did. I say, I didn't see you. If you want to know how much the tattoo was, just ask Damon. It was his credit card. He smirked deviously, leaving me in horror. His cred, yep. His card and his call when I arrived in. Just so if you're wondering. He scrunched his nose as he winked, his smirk blazing on with no end in sight, and his eyes twinkling with amusement. That was all it took to silence me. I leaned back tiredly, my lips pursed tightly. Need something to drink. Of course. I perked cheerfully. If it were poison or chlorine, then that would be great. Out of luck, darling, he announced glumly, reaching into a cooler by his passenger side. But here's this. He tosses a plastic water bottle back, which I catch mid-air, muttering thanks. I peel open the lid and drink a large gulp just to instantly spit it out. I drank more than half of it, but still splatters of water or whatever it was came flying out. What on earth was that? I exclaim, examining the bottle and label. I glance at Caden to see him trying to hold back his laughter, his unusual blend of color for his eyes now spiced with mischief. Refreshing enough. He prodded, widening his eyebrows. Screw you, Caden. I cuss, just to make him smirk more. Delighted. And just a tip for the future. Not everything in this pack is as it seems, he informs, especially if given by moi here. Then it never really is. Thanks for the heads up, but seriously, what is this? I ask. The color was clear like water, but was anything but water. Its sour-ish aftertaste still lingering on the tip of my tongue. Vodka. What else? He said as if it were the most obvious explanation. Have you never drank in your life? No. I retort, sealing the lid. Never ever. Figures, was all he replied. Dame Anne's got himself a good girl. Haven't you heard? Good girls are bad girls who haven't been caught yet. I quote proudly from a post I saw on Instagram. He merely scoffs. Bad girl my ass. I bet you haven't done anything bad in your life. I have. I explain, raising my voice. I tongue itched for the right word. I've slipped out in the middle of the night. Alone. I say confidently, making him frown at me. For what? To buy ice cream. He sneered. Or to rescue a stray puppy on the verge of starvation. To punish litterers. No, to go to a friend's house. I shrug. He studies me carefully from the rear mirror. A guy's house? He inquired. I shake my head. He's shown his $1 million smile. Satisfaction getting to his senses. Then you're good, he concluded. Becky's you didn't go to have say. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. I sing, covering my ears cheekily. He laughed for a bit before silencing himself. The memory of me slipping out at the age of 14 just so I could to Leah's house for a sleepover turned my stomach. I missed her. Not only her but everyone back home. Xavier, Ryan, Zane, Leah, Jordan, Angel, Mia, Christina. Every last person. I gaze outside to see the weather starting to deteriorate. The once clear sky now covered with a gray sheet. The wind started to twirl and play with the remaining leaves left on the trees. As the trees whistled, the outside weather perfectly symbolized my inner feelings. How long till in back home? I ask, my voice quivering from home, sickness and body sulking against the seat. It's a 3-hour route to your brother's borders, and then a 45-minute drive from here to their house, but it could be delayed because of this damn weather. He said, sighing, make yourself comfort. It's gonna be a long drive. Those were the last words I could make out before my eyes grew heavy and I dissolved into my own world of darkness. Wake up, sleeping beauty. Someone singed as I rubbed my eyes tiredly. I rise from against the window, stretching my arms and muffling a yawn. To see Caden smiling. Awake at last. What's the time? I yawn, totally ignoring Caden. I was about to pull my phone out from the pocket of my cardigan when Caden replied. 125. He said. I stare back out. The sky nearly pitch black and was crying. The raindrops pounding against the windshield and while the wipers worked furiously to wipe them away. It looked like it was midnight. We cleared entrance to your pack about 40 minutes ago. He added. To be perfectly honest, I didn't know what he was talking about till after I opened my eyes completely, but when I did, I was hopping. Really. Oh my god. How do I look? I take my phone out and put the camera on. I brush my hair back, staring at my mini reflection. My eyes were hollow and cheeks were pale. I pinch them softly to regain the color back. I hear Caden grumble something in a different language, most likely Italian, but I ignore him as always. Not soon after, some fancy familiar silver gate with silver-plated roses glued to the bottom appeared. My chest heaved from every breath I inhaled and butterflies formed in the pit of my stomach, expecting to see a SUV in front of us. I then suddenly noticed the other 2 SUVs weren't here with us. They weren't cleared access, he muttered after seeing my face. We approached the gates at a slow, calm pace which was very Caden, like to me. What's got your panties in a twist now? I teased playfully, making his scowl deepen. I was home. Home. The doors, like always, popped open motion sensitive and we rode into the blissful place I once called home. I smile sadly, already feeling my stomach drop for when I'll have to leave tomorrow. I wanted to stay, just as I predicted, before Caden could even park the car by the front porch for me to step out. Ryan, Mia, Angel, and Xavier worst ending out beforehand. I could have cried from the sight of them, but I decided to make a strong appearance, so they could know. I wasn't weak anymore. I had become a Luna. Caden and kill the engine, nor does he say anything for first few seconds, but however, when I about to step out he said, "You'll be back at 130 sharp tomorrow to pick up. Don't be late." He emphasized the last line by placing pauses in between, to tell he was serious. I nodded and opened the door. "Thank you for everything, Caden." "I mean it." He also nodded in reply to show he heard. Warning, don't get so comfy. Helps with the hormones. Got it. I know, and he flashes a genuine boyish smile. with no hidden meaning. Have fun, kiddo. I leap out and dash to the front porch where my family was trying to prevent myself from getting wet. Just when I landed a step on the porch, I was squeezed together by my brothers. Eh, God, am here. Calm do, ouch. Calm do, ouch. They withdrew their hands from instantly, surveying me gravely for a cause of pain. I clutched my bandaged hand quickly, trying to cover it with my hands, but it was too late. What happened to you? Ryan was the first to exclaim, looking at me with his face clearly hurt. He took my left hand lightly, and carefully to not hurt me even more. Did Dame undo this? Beckius, if he did, Xavier threatened dangerously, using his alpha tone making him even more deathly. He didn't do this, Xavier. I growl impatiently. June's reins were growing on me, so I couldn't help it. Ryan and Xavier looked astonished from my outburst like they never saw it coming, their eyes wide and mouth hanging. I'm sorry, I whisper afterwards. Mia came around to me from behind. June's just got more possessive about him lately. I confess sadly, tears well in my eyes. It's all right. Ryan was the first to recover from the shock. We should have acted rationally. She asked your mate. He glared at Xavier for help, but he refused to. What happened? Mia spoke softly, laying a hand on my shoulder. I smiled, laying my other hand on hers. Sort of a long story, but what I can say for sure. It was a mistake. It's just an IV bandaging. I say, gesturing to the white bandage. What's that clear bandaging for? Angel asked from behind Ryan. She was in high-waist jeans with a loose mint sweater over and black ankle boots. Nora, is that a tattoo? Xavier asked wildly, glaring darkly at me. I glanced at Mia for help but found none. I chewed my lower lip, searching for a reply. Where's Christina when you need her? Hey, where's Christina and Zane at? I asked abruptly after learning they weren't here. Ryan's and Angel's face dropped and they exchanged looks. Xavier tensed up and Mia looked as if she were about to cry. Atmosphere shifted abruptly, leaving a question mark hanging silently between us all. What happened? I asked, looking at them for an answer. I felt the tears coming back, but before they even form, Ryan had me in his arms. I hug him, inhaling his heavenly scent, his expensive cologne hovering over his shirt while snuggling my fingers through his hair. He eventually pulls away, when someone, most likely Xavier, clears their throat. What happened? I wiped my eyes with the sleeve of my cardigan. Come on in first, Nora. You'll catch a cold, Angel said, ushering me in quickly and locking the door shut. I couldn't be more happy to be home. Come on to the kitchen, everyone. I made chocolate-covered CRPS, just how Nora likes them, Angel said, pushing me down the hallway to the kitchen. I smile faintly, happy to see her smiling at least. Ryan and Xavier hovered in the back with me ahead of them, but behind us. I soon entered the place where I had once burned. I was 11. Give me a break. While attempting to make pancakes, I grinned from the memory, but soon it dissolved as I take a seat on the bar stools with Ryan by one side and Mia by another. Angel brings over a large dinner plate containing about 15 chocolate-covered CRPS while wearing her favorite towel print apron that I gifted her when Ryan brought her home. First, tell me what happened. Where's Christina and Zane right now? I ask, my voice trembling from the possibilities. The smell of food churned my stomach. They're both upstairs. Ryan sighed, making me slightly relieved. I thank the gods above, but after seeing Ryan struggling to form the next line, I frown. There was an incident after you left. He spoke softly, his voice heavy with thought, sounding like the doctors about when they break bad news. Are they okay? My voice comes out smaller than I anticipated. Rogues attacked right after you left. His voice trailed off, but I had filled in the lines myself. They were supposed to get me. Xavier cut in while squeezing his eyes, but instead they got Christina. I gasped so loud that I'm surprised I haven't fallen off my chair. Ryan looked up, and so did Mia. She hung an arm around me in a comforting way like she thought it would help. She's all right now, Mia added with a slight hopefulness to her tone. Chess making a fast recovery. The blood loss might have delayed the process a bit, making her weak but not to worry. Just fighting like the fighter she is. Her words were sadly not enough for me. I had to see her with my own eyes to be the judge of that. How about Zane? Where's he? Kimi started with hope, which eventually evolved into sorrow and made her eyes glassy. HES also making a recovery. Angel added, filling in for her, but a bit slower. Why? I cry, already hiccuping from my tears that were bubbling. Those rogues did more damage to him. He shifted and fought one until he accidentally let his guard down, and they took advantage of that. Ryan huffed as he was angry with himself, as if he blamed himself for his current condition. Is the baby all right? I could feel the tears falling down my pale cheeks and my heart constricting with every beat. They're both fine, whispered Angel, patting my hand. Now eat. I swear you're getting skinnier by the day. A sound cross between a hiccup and laugh erupted from my throat. You just saw me yesterday. I used a finger to run under my eye. And we've missed you since then, Ryan remarked happily, his arm swinging around me in an attempt to bring me closer. Ouch. My hand goes flying onto my neck protectively, while pushing Ryan away with the other hand. What's wrong? Ryan said, sounding not so great again. His voice deepened and fell a few degrees, as if he were using his alpha tone to question me. Nothing. I shake my head, trying to move away from the table and their concerned faces. Before I could offer my explanation, someone had roughly twirled my bar stool around from behind. I nearly fall off if it weren't for Xavier's arm around my waist. He avoided my eyes and tilted my head to the right gently while brushing my hair back, squeezing my eyes shut. I wish I could turn back time. I hear him suck in his breath, and when I open them I see Ryan exchanging glances with him, his eyes drooping with sadness. Seconds fly, and I brush Xavier's hands off my neck and waist. My gaze tore away from his. Just scared to face him eye to eye. It was as if time was been reversed. No one spoke, nor did everyone move. Everyone stood perfectly still. I wish I could crawl right back into my bed and forget this all like it was a nightmare, with hope that I'd wake up to a beautiful sunny day. Congratulations on your mark. Xavier spat bitterly, before storming out of the room. My neck suddenly felt exposed without my scarf, and while bearing his mark upon my skin, for the first in my life since after my parents' death, I felt alone, mounting the stairway. It's all my fault. I sobbed with Ryan running his hand behind my back as I cried helplessly in his mate's arms. No, it isn't, she whispered back in a motherly tone. You were going to be March one day, and we all should have known that day was coming. We just weren't expecting it that soon. That's all. Didn't know. I exclaim. Angel. I have Alpha Damon as my mate. Alpha Damon Romano of the Red Blood Pack, and what do you mean by we're expecting it? I accused. I won't be surprised if I'm pregnant by the end of this month because of him. A loud noise between a gasp and cough chokes Ryan severely. Calm down, Nora. You can't change the inevitable either. She shot an eyebrow, ignoring the last part. Unlike her, Ryan seemed to have tensed up from the last part. Xavier was going to react like this one day. You couldn't have possibly changed that, she stated as a matter of fact. Dismissed Ryan's burning glare. Unbelievable, Angel. I hiss, pulling away from her and rising up while slow clapping. Ryan's hand grew still as he watched, observing lie, and kept silent. First, you weren't expecting me being marked so soon, and now you're blaming me for Xavier's outburst. My voice and anger rising. To be honest, Angel, I'm tired. I'm tired of being treated like a kid and scolded like one too. I'm a Luna goddamn in it. Not a pup. It's not my fault. Xavier cowled and handled it rationally, and he overreacted. I felt like screaming, which I knew I mostly likely was. You said Xavier's reaction was bound to happen. It was inevitable. You know it's truly inevitable. My voice cracks, mixing with my tears, but despite them I stare dead into her brown eyes. That one day, it'll be forgotten. It'll be forgotten. and dying in a bed of an old hospital, and I won't be able to catch a single glimpse of my mate before I die because he'll be too busy screwing with hoes in our bed. That's inevitable. Very soon when Dame and to see me again, instead of talking and asking about how my day went, he'll be too busy raping me to hear my screams. That's also inevitable. But what's the most inevitable thing that could happen? I ask, laughing wearily with them both staring at me wide eyes like I'd gone mad. That I'll be pregnant with his child eventually, and he won't give a damn about me and neither the child. That's sad, I know, but that's the truth. I'll be rotting with my child in a cell, and he'll be too arrogant to notice the pain HES inflicting on either of us. That's inevitable. I whisper softly with tear-stained eyes, before storming out of the room and back to the main hallway, jolting up the stairs to my old bedroom. My heart cries tears of blood, but yet I'm grateful they don't follow. My footsteps echoed throughout the hollow house and creaked against the old floorboards as I slammed the door shut to my room and collapsed down against the door, pouring out all my feelings. Betrayal constricted in my chest and disgust churched my stomach. Pain awed my insides, making them raw, while my throat dried up. What would he be doing now, right? At this moment, while his mate's away, would he be busy screwing his sluts, or would he be busy raping innocent prisoners? Would he be torturing his servants, beating Lil into a pulp, or would he be bussy and flirting with girls like Stephanie? I cry, and cry and cry and cry and cry, for what seems like hours, but when I check, only 2 hours had passed. No one came, nor did anyone knock at the door during those 2 hours, but I felt Ryan's wolf down the corridor a couple of times. But just like I predicted, his presence returned back to where he came. Silently, I snuffle it into my sleeve and snuggle my stuffed toy, Nemo, closer to my chest. If you guessed it was a gift from Xavier, then you're bang on correct. He won it on me in a spring fair that the local school had set up for fundraising. I look into its large fixed ties, and I swear I could have seen memory vividly. Xavier, in his favorite worn-out leather jacket and wash jeans with his strong masculine cologne clinging onto him. And then there was me, in my summer aqua dress and a single-side braid and matte flip-flops. Took him $20 for attempts and one angry screaming wolf just to get the basketball in. But luckily 10 minutes later I was hugging Nemo against my chest just like I was right now. I remember clinging on to arm and squeezing him while hearing the cheers around us from the younger kids, wishing for a brother as him. I smile warily, afraid I might end up crying instead of laughing. A low double knock at the door gets my attention, drawing me away from memory lane. Nora, I know you're crying against the door, so open up before I crush the door down and use those torn pieces to stake your ass of a mate in the Sirotk. I swing open the door before she could continue on with her remark. She trailed off and squeezed me tightly, her cold metal necklace stabbing my neck. I miss you so much, Leah. I cry into her shoulder, pulling her closer. Okay. Having Judith, faculties breathing juicy here. She breathed hardly from against my neck, and I instantly withdrew. She staggered back but held on to the door. Jesus, woman. Want to kill me before I find my mate. Sorry. I wiped my eyes carefully. Come on in. She strode in confidently, her heels clicking off the floor and her bag swinging off her shoulder, landing directly onto my bed. Here, you look as if you need one. Or about 20. She placed the tissue box in front of me. Thanks. I mumbled, taking a handful from my nose. I sat down beside her, feeling her gaze soften. Better? She asked gently, placing the box back on my table, and I nodded. She parted her lips to say something but ended up sealing them shut again. How's Jordan? I asked, wiping my nose before she could ask about anything I didn't want to bring up. She studied me briefly before starting. Yes, good, but just had a lot of pressure upon him at the moment. She started. I've barely seen him since the wedding. Yes, either in the office, going through mountains of paperwork, or in the pack houses going through new security arrangement. Security arrangement. Since when? The attack from church. I gape. My eyes rising and drying up smoothly. She shook her head. Since the bodies started turning up. Haven't you heard? How could have I? Was I in this pack before this day? I remark, making her mouth widen. Or do you think my brothers would have told me? Sorry, I forgot, she whispered, remorse filling her tone. There's been bodies turning up from throughout the Silver Rise area. Nasty, burned up bodies. And some say they were experimented upon. But you know it's more sickening. There are pack members. I suck in my breath, feeling my heart pound beneath my skin how. I couldn't make the words out anymore. I suddenly felt nauseated by just simply imagining the scent of burnt flesh. They were children, elderly and even orphan newborns. She exclaimed, like what kind of monster would do that? The heartless one, I add, feeling the words tighten my throat. I felt faint-ish too along with nauseated now. What's wrong? You don't look so great, she pointed out, sticking her index finger into my cheeks playfully. I laughed softly. Just tired. Had an ivy poked into the same hand eye to dawn. In the same day. Not my definition of fun, you can say. Can I see the tattoo? I propped my hand up for her to gaze at. Her lips parted, her fingers tracing the feather pattern with awe. Is it? Leah asked with wide eyes, making me nod silently. She'd be proud of you. No doubt she would. At all of you. She brought me into her embrace, being mindful of my hand as she curved her hands around me. Can you help me remove the bandaging? Why not? She pulled away and took my wrist, placing it delicately in her palm. Do I just pull it off? Yup, I squeak, remembering Maya's cat-like words. She didn't need to be reminded a second time. Her fingers immediately rushed to start working on the bandaging, prying the stickinses off my skin, agonizingly slow with her extended talon-type nails, feeling my scream hidden in the back of my throat. I knew this was going to take some time. 15 minutes and one stinging wrist later, Leah finally managed to peel it off. It had become yellowish. The clear bandage filled with my dead skin cells and with no surprise, had become like a second skin in such a short period of time. Done, she chirped triumphantly, holding the clear plastic in her hand like a trophy. Thanks a lot, I hiss, remembering not to rub, but I couldn't help it. I wrapped my other hand around the tattoo. Leah strode to the washroom and came out seconds later with wet hands. Where's Christine S. and Zayneth's bedroom? I asked, hoping she'd tell me without a fight. You sure you can see them in this condition? She wondered. Her arms crossed each other strictly, giving the illusion of my mean grade to teacher which Ryan had fired afterward. She was even dressed as her. A similar white, tight, high-collar halter dress with black striping going down by her sides and ending at her knees with classic, black polished, 7-inch heels and a metal necklace dangling on her neck. I stand, hugging myself. I need to see them. She sighs heavily, deep in thought considering. Who's first? Zane. I replied quickly without a thought. She nodded and strode out the room to her right, to the second last room down the hallway. And here, to Sukshin, she gestured with a flick of her head, with her hands still crossed. Her eyes burned behind my head as I entered the room. I glanced back to mutter my gratitude, but unfortunately, Leah had already left. Sighing, I returned back to my brother, laying in his round bed with sheets drawn to his waist and with Mia on his right. Fast asleep. There he laid, his skin utterly pale as if he were drained of blood and his hair glistening. Not from sweat, I knew. Besides the beats of the machines hooked up onto him, his low breathing was the next sound I could hear. Every breath his chest inhaled, my heart sprang with hope, but with every exhaling breath, it froze every inch of me. I wanted to hug him, but he was asleep and with Mia besides him. It was the best idea. Nonetheless, I stalked up to him silently, and bent down to leave a gentle trace of my love, a kiss on his icy forehead, along with my muttering prayers to any listening angel by his ear. I heard many times as a child, when someone you care about is either sick, dying, or is leaving, you should mutter prayers in your native language by their ears for good luck or as a blessing for their future ahead, however it might be. I haven't done it many times to others, but have to my brothers numerous times. just as doing wave to me whenever I'm sick. I murmur the blissful words in French by his ears, trying to keep my voice firm but soft, trying not to awaken him. I was done quickly and shortly after I slipped out, shutting the door slowly, attempting to fight the urge of tearing up. I was about to make my way to the living room when I heard a glass shatter from the room in front. Scurrying to open the knob, I accidentally swing the door open too much, making it slam the wall behind. "Are you okay?" I say. Christina. Christina was propped up against the head door, wearing a loose mint dress with 3/4 sleeves, swearing as her eyes snapped to me. "OSSSHH." She rolled her eyes. A similar IV which I had this morning was now attached to her forearm. "You don't want Xavier to rush in here like a maniac, do you? Christina, you have to be more careful." I scold her, eyeing the glass shard and pool of water. She merely scoffs in return. "Me careful? Do you even know me? I can walk in 10-inch stiletto heels for entire day non. Stop with breaking a sweat in your telling me to be careful." Well, I can't recall anyone with that sort of talent, but regardless of that, you can't do that now because me and Xavier both forbidding you from wearing heels till after the baby. I say, but regret it instantly. I'm sorry. Don't apologize. We're both fine. Can't you see? She laid a hand on her stomach, smiling tentatively. "I'm so sorry I was here for you." I blurt out, feeling slightly ashamed saying so. "It was your fault." She gestured with her hand. "Come sit." I gladly make my way over, propping next to her so. "Why are you here, Nora?" Christina asked without a moment's hesitation. "Did Dame undo something?" No. There's no need for that." I cut in sharply. "Jesus, what's with you people and his family jewels?" She rose an eye. "You weren't the only person who threatened his family jewels," I add, making her go as if a light bulb went off. "Who was the last?" She wondered, and I without hesitation reply, "Leah." Christina was some of those people who I could be normal with. No formalities whatsoever. Figures. I taught her well, didn't I? Christine wiggled her eyebrows. "You, for the love of God and for the sake of your unborn child." "Just shut up," I exclaim, making her grin widen. "You're such a child," she teased. Whatever, and back to your original question. No, I didn't just leave, spitting the sad truth out. It's a tradition where the Luna has to go back for a day to her pack without her mate. It's for making their affection for each other grow and for them to learn each other's valve. Sounds incredible, she stated without a hint of sarcasm. Maybe his love for you will increase. Oh please. All he needs me for is a showpiece that he has a mate and HS, not one of those sad loner types that can't even hold a girl for 5 minutes. I bark, making her laugh. "It's true. When did I say it's not?" She sneered. "For what I know, HES an ass, but sadly that ass is your mate. So I can't really say comment on anything, but from what I can see, HES dead serious about you." "What?" I pause, giving her time to join her words. "I mean, remember when you first met him?" I bite my lip, not ready with a reply. Without me speaking, she figured my answer. "You fainted in his arms shortly after he kissed you, and that's when he threatened us. He'd torture the shit out of you." Before I could say anything, she continued on. "And of course he challenged your brothers like the ass face he is, but he clearly said would look tortured you before marking you, but you seem intact. Unless he..." "No, I didn't let him." I sigh, my chest heavy from the memory of last night. "He marked me only. Am not mated yet." "Well, congratulations for your mark." She nudged my arm. "Oh, shut up, Christina. Why do you got to be so nasty?" I don't know, but I'd be delighted to pass it on to my future daughter." She beamed happily from the thought. "How do you know the child's going to be a girl?" She scoffed. "Honey, have you seen these charms? Only my girl can inherit them, but with a fusion of Xavier's hair, obviously. Good hair seems to run in the family. Did you get it checked?" I asked, ignoring her comment about family genetics. To reconfirm. Darling, I don't need to reconfirm nothing. I have faith on our sex cells, especially the avioress. She beamed again, with a wink. I'm done here. I say disgust lie, standing up. You, I point, are spoiling your unborn child already. I say, turning away. Oh, shut up. It's not like you're E-Saint either. Even you know where babies come from, but just as a refresher. When a guy takes a girl to the bedroom or anywhere basically, and inserts his D, la 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 la. I hum loudly, covering my ears, while flipping around to face her. I'm too young to know that. No, you're not. You have a mate for the love of God, and even I have expectations set for you and that ass-face to have babies soon. She defended, crossing her hands, covering her ivy hand against her chest, leaving me speechless. Christina, I holler, putting a finger in the air. I'm seriously done here. I step away out the doors, closing the door shut behind. Just when I was shaking my head and laughing silently while walking past the stairway, I collided into another figure. I prepare myself for a hard fall, pinching my eyes shut in advance, but the fall never comes. Warm hands clasp around my waist, drawing me closer to the individual's body. My eyes slowly tear open to catch Xavier's face harden. My hands land on his shoulders as he agonizingly slow releases me, but I hold on. Xavier. My words disappeared into the mist. Don't, Nora. He flashed his eyes up. I'm sorry for acting like that to you in the kitchen. You didn't deserve it. My eyes grew numb, but I resisted the urge to cry. It's okay. I smile sadly. I'm sorry too. For he rose an eyebrow in curiosity. For everything. For not being here when you needed me. He tried to interrupt by saying my name, but I kept on going. And for not being there when my family needed me the most. I probably don't deserve yours or anyone's forgiveness, but I wish you could, despite all that's happened. I hope you know I don't intend on breaking anyone's heart or playing with anyone's emotions. I just cowed and handle the circumstances like a true Luna should have. I sigh. Maybe I'm not fit to be one even. Don't you ever say that again as long as I love Mrs. Nora Romano. He threatened playfully but yet dangerously. You're Mrs. Nora Faith Romano, the only Luna of the Red Blood Pack. No one could have handled that position better than you. I know that, and so do Ryan, Zane, Mia Angel, Christina, Leah, and even the moon goddess herself. Why, she placed you as the Luna because she had just the same amount of faith on you as we all do. His chest clenching up, and drawing me close into his embrace with my head resting on his shoulder and my fingers tracing his shoulder blades. With time you'll understand everything. I promise and never forget this, Nora. As long as we all live, the Silver Rose Pack will always your back for better or worse. He concluded, stroking my hair softly like a father would when comforting his daughter during a thunderstorm, or more suitably, how our father would live if he were alive during this crisis. And that's what I would worry for the most. I wanted to add, but the moment felt too perfect to ruin, and gods above knew. When would I receive another moment like this again? 20 The last farewell. Morning, Nora. Angel sung, while pouring a mug of coffee for Ryan. Morning, Angel. Ryan. I respond, brushing my wet hair back and exchanging glances with them both before taking up the chair next to Ryan. I decided waking up early to shower and wash my hair because it would be beneficial for me, especially after knowing Caden was going to arrive at 1:30 in the afternoon to pick me up. The current time was 10 exact, giving a couple of hours to spare with my genuine family, the family that actually held importance in my life, unlike Damon's so-called family, which was mostly filled with hoes, traitors, and thieves of what he called a pack. Angels above knew how they became the first leading pack in North America. I had just hopped out the shower with my wet hair dripping down behind my back, all over my leather jacket and jeans. I decided dressing in a pink loose V-shaped neck and leather jacket would be a good note to end on when I leave. I wore simple dime and studs and black Converses with a touch of simple jewelry like a bracelet and matching metal necklace for my neck and wrist. Luckily, because of my wolf healing, I recovered pretty fast from the tat because it wasn't stinging or itching anymore. Someone looks pretty well rested, Ryan said, sipping his coffee carefully. A smile crawls up my lips. I could the same for you. But unfortunately the blistering love bites on Angel's neck tells me a completely different story. He chokes on his coffee, burning his lip in the process. Angel blushes, and instantly scurries to get Ryan some paper towels to wipe his spill. She gives me the evil eye as she pats Ryan's back end as he cusses. What's going on in here? Xavier exclaimed. Entering the kitchen, Mommy and Angel hold our staring expressions. He catches Ryan swearing and averts his eyes, looking at me darkly for an explanation. Don't look at me. I avert my eyes innocently. I was asking what's for breakfast. Yeah, sure you were. Angel frowns. Xavier catches on. Late but never, and feigns a smile. Guess I missed one heck of a show. Like bloody hell you did. Ryan scowled, his nostrils fuming after eyeing me angrily. I continued to play the innocent act while sipping my glass of lemonade. Xavier sat down on the empty seat, opposite of Ryan. He had grabbed the newspaper, and just when he was about to unfold it, I heard the front door unlock. Some owns at the door. I state ly, while propping one elbow onto the counter and unlocking my phone. How do you know someone's at the door? Xavier demanded, gazing at me sharply. I retreat my elbow back with my phone in my fingers, above my lap. I heard it open. Good morning, my lovely. Shut up, Jordan. Xavier snapped at poor Jordan, who was dressed in a plain gray shirt which exposed his muscular arms unite neatly, with faded jeans and worn-out sneakers. No one heard it open, Nora, Ryan said, and exchanged glances with Xavier. What's up? Shut up. I just heard the door unlock and I said it. I repeat sheepishly, ignoring the bickering between Xavier and Jordan. Yeah, we heard you, Nora, but no one else heard it open. Angel explained in a calmer tone than Ryan, while placing the plates of eggs in front of us three. Didn't you to hear it with your wolf senses? I asked, utterly confused. We did, but that's because of our alpha hearing, Nora. How did you hear it? Xavier asked while Ryan nodded in agreement. I don't know which. I say ly, thinking hard about it. It's her Luna senses. Mia panted, walking and wearing a teal tank top with a loose black zipper hoodie and black yoga pants. It was as if she had gone for a jog, her headphones dangling by shoulders like loose strands of thread, and her phone still attached to her arm. I reply, sounding dumber than expected. She merely took a couple steps forward until her shoulder was nearly by Jordan's. It's a part of your Luna sense. Improved hearing, improved rapidness, improved sight. It comes in the package along with your mark. She beamed. Then why didn't Angel tell or know about it? I looked at her, feeling slightly offended. Because being the only daughter has its perks, she said, making Angel's frown deepen. Mia's face dropped after stealing a glimpse of hers. What? She means she that being the oldest daughter has its perks. Angel sighed, hugging her arms. Ryan settled his cup down from his hand and rose to bring Angel into a hug. What are we missing here? Xavier demanded gently, still making me roll my eyes at him. Only the oldest daughter of the family, who gets to become a Luna, is gifted with these extra gifts, Angel explained, withdrawing from Ryan's arms, who looked slightly unhappy from her decision. Cadence was too. Katie Cadence was Angel's older sister, who was mated to an alpha as well but died in a sudden rouge attack several months before Angel found Ryan. Whenever her name was brought up, Angel would get depressed. Katie was her only family besides Ryan and us who knew her, so we always avoided this topic as much as we can. I'm sorry, Angel, I say on behalf of Mia, but she shakes it off with a wave. It's the past now. I'm just happy you to have the Luna sense like Cadence did once. She grins. Her smile was holding sadness and grief beyond compare. Losing your parents was hard enough, believe me. I know the pain, but also your only sibling. That was nightmare no one should dream of. I couldn't imagine my life without any of my brothers. Besides Christina being the only child of her family, Mia would have known as well about it. Coming from a family of 5 younger brothers and 2 younger sisters, but in Angel's case, She was the only youngest of her family. I hate to interrupt this family reunion, but Luna Angel, could you please pass the salt? You seem to have forgotten to add them in the eggs, Jordan informed, scooping a handful of eggs into his mouth. Hey, that was my plate, I exclaimed angrily. We were so engrossed in our conversation that we had never saw or heard Jordan sit in front of us and begin to eat out of my plate. Too bad. It was pretty tasty. The toast had grown stiff though. You wouldn't have liked it anyway. He shrugged, taking my lemonade as well from right in front of me. Jordan, I swear, they'll kill you today. I slapped my hands on the tabletop, dashing out of my chair and around the table once, around Ryan and Angel before following Jordan outside the back door. He ran around the dried-out swimming pool and over the old flower beds, his sneakers leaving a print of themselves in the soft soil and leftover patchwork of baby grass. Give up already, he sneered as I hesitated to step foot in the muck because of my newly washed Converses. Screw you. You're such an ass, I reply angrily before returning to the back porch and sticking my middle finger out in his direction. Jordan's laughter rang out from the field, leaving me slightly pissed. I stomped back inside and past the kitchen where me and Jill were busy cleaning dishes and by Xavier and Ryan, who were too engrossed in their conversation to notice me walk by. I swore as I jolted up the stairs and down the hallway to my room and into the washroom. I tear some tissues from the box and wet them with the help of tap, rubbing as vigorously as I could. I scrubbed as much dirt as I could from the shoes. Fuck him, I snarl, discarding the tissue into the garbage bin. I swapped my Converses for some basic black ballet flats with some heels attached to help with my height. I brush my hair with my hands and tie it into a sloppy, messy bun with a single hair tie. I walk back out, my heels clicking against the wooden floor and down the foyer to the kitchen. Nora, over here, someone exclaimed from the opposite side of the kitchen. I walk over and step down the many steps, into the living room to see Mia, Angel, and even Christina clustered around the TV, on the leather sofa set. Finally, Christina cried, her once pale face now back into its soft natural tin color. The long indigo dress of hers was sparkling radiant in contrast with her tone. You were just about to miss Damon's entry. I froze in my steps, feeling my heart stop. HES here. My eyes were starting to grow wide. I meant Damon Salvatorius, not that ass faces. She rolled her eyes to Gus TLY from her customized in one of kind the tray for him. My eyes adjusted to the low glow from the chandelier above, to see a similar bandaging around her forearm as I had yesterday. Come have a seat, Nora. Angel gestured with her hand to the empty seat next to hers. Ass face. Now who in the hell did you let me in that? Mia asked. She had changed from her exercise wear into a loose red sweater with beige tights and tall black combat boots. Her once soft wavy hair straightened into a luminous halo. The one and only, made of our darling Nora, Angel replied, popping some popcorn into her mouth. Now enough. I want to see my boyfriend. A growl erupted and brought our attention up to the other foyer top on our right. Boyfriend, Ryan hissed, his pupils dilated and glowing like a wolf's. I meant my fictional boyfriend Ryan. She pointed to the screen with her hand, to the face of Dame Salvatore when he first entered Stefan's study in the first episode. Mine. He rushed down and was in front of Angel in under 30 seconds flat, and had reached out to kiss her furiously. The scene brought dark, buried memories of my marriage to Damon and of when he kissed me against my will in the presence of both packs to show his dominance when I had asked a simple question. The thought sends down a shiver, making me cold. Enough, enough. Mia wrinkled her nose while covering her eyes. No baby making allowed during the Vampire Diaries. Ryan seemed offended. Everything's fair in love and war, he snorted, especially baby making. Okay, fun's over. Xavier luckily arrived from the foyer top, dressed in a crisp dress shirt with black vest and black tie neatly tucked into the pocket of his vest. Time for the briefing. Ryan, pouting like a puppy, shook his head and kissed Angel once on the head before releasing her. Till tonight, Angel. He winked while throwing over his suit's jacket over his shoulder and brushing his long hair back. Well, which? Well, someone looks unsatisfied. Christine mocked, edging on Angel's ankle with her flip-flop. Oh, shut up and start already, she complained. I reach out to grab the remote from the coffee table to press play. Throwing my heels off carelessly, I draw my feet up on the sofa and cuddle the bowl of popcorn closer towards me, while then dramatic music played to sign the ending of the first episode. Wow, I can't believe we've watched 15 episodes of the first season together, Christina squealed, tossing her empty popcorn bowl onto the coffee table. Yeah, I know, right? Mia added, kicking all 3 popcorn bowls up, including the one Christine tossed onto the table. You should have seen Nora's face whenever they mentioned Damon's name, Angel teased, stretching her arm. She cringed so much. It was as if she had swallowed a lemon every time his name popped up. HH. How sour was it, Nora? Christina wiggled her eyebrows. Quite at you guys. I swear you guys are even worse than 5-year-olds. I exclaim in my defense. They all erupted into fits of giggles and laughed until the front door squeaked open. Door, I say lamely, taking a stand and walking to the kitchen for a drink barefoot, not bothering with my shoes like the lazy girl I am. Just when I was pouring a glass of pink lemonade from the pitcher for myself, Ryan and Xavier, both looking exhausted, entered the hall. Ryan, just like he left, had his coat swung over his shoulder and his tie loose and to the extent where it was nearly about to come undone. His eyes heavy and one's high cheeks sulking. Xavier's brown soft hair was now looking ruffled to the point where it was about to poke up, probably from overrunning his fingers. Well, what did the devil bring in now? I raise an eyebrow playfully, while taking a sip of my drink. When I don't get a reply, I slam the glass down. They perked up instantly. Hey, what's up? I ask more seriously, drawing the bar stool around to sit on. Ryan leaned over the back countertop, his stone-like eyes glistening. Xavier remained in front, his hands crossed tightly and his jaw clenched. Angel and Mia arrived in as well, with Christine awalled in their embrace for support. It's 128, Nora, Xavier said, raising an eyebrow and showing his phone with the time chirping like a time bomb. Oh, good lord. Please don't make him say. They cleared entry over minutes ago and should be arriving momentarily. I recommend you be ready, Ryan said, his voice sounding final and cracking with the same amount despair as me. My blood runs cold and my saliva turns bitter in my mouth. 2 minutes. That's all the time I had left. I open my mouth but close it sadly, afraid I might end up saying something to ruin the last few seconds I had left. I bite my tongue madly, holding my screams of protest back, and nod silently before leaving my half-drunken glass and returning to the living room to retrieve my shoes. I slip them on frustratingly, being totally aware of facing away and avoiding any direct eye connect, for I know I might end up crying. I suddenly became aware of these past few days and how much I've lately spent trying not to cry and doing so, one way or another, wiping my nose and I being cursing at my left shoe for not fitting. Suddenly a hand comes around from behind and helps me fit my leg in, for I knew who it was, but it still melted my heart when I saw Ryan kneeling on the ground and helping me into my shoes. It was like reacting a scene from Cinderella, with me as the princess for once, and Ryan as my Prince Charming. No doubt he was my brother, but he was no less than my Prince Charming in the disguise of the devil. His smile was no less, but instead more perfect and more breathtaking as his. Thank you, I whisper, feeling my tear drop onto the surface of his backhand. His face rose up to mine and softened from the sight of my tears. No crying, he reminded, squeezing me. I breathed in his heavenly scent for a final time, as I pry myself away to walk back into the kitchen with him hot on my trail. Ready. Jordan had suddenly arrived, wearing black trousers and a tight white shirt made to expose his fine muscles, making him more intimidating than he seemed. Hey Jordan, when did you arrive? I asked, trying to keep my time from quickening like grains of sand slipping between the space of my fist. Not so long ago. He shrugged as if he didn't notice my current condition or if he chose to ignore it. But either way, his arms were still crossed. His phone dinged twice from inside his pocket. Digging it out. He glanced down at it hard and his frown deepened. They've arrived and they're outside. That was all he had to say to trigger every honest anxiety. Ryan leaned back, his eyes drooping while Angel tried to comfort him. Mia was against the island, looking down at the ground, and Christina was tightly fastened in Xavier's grip, cursing under breath. I gulped down my remaining saliva, which had gone cold by just lingering on my tongue, my sweaty hands by my side, making them into a fist. I raced down the hallway to the front door, with Angel calling in the back to calm down. But dismissing her, I continue on forward. A clutter of footsteps follow my lead outside to the front porch, where the same SUVs awaited my return. Caden, who was wearing only his jeans and zipped-up leather jacket, lit a cigarette and turned away after seeing me. "Well, always be by your side, Nora," was the final words of Xavier I heard before dashing down the stairs. Another familiar guard from the other day bowed and sprung open the door to the car. I jumped in, and that was all. I zoomed out as I heard the chorus of doors slam shut and the engine roared back to life. The car moved forward and hesitantly. I peeked outside to see the encouraging smiles from my brothers and their mates. They soon faded away and dissolved as the car left the main gates and hit the main road. "You look well," Kate unprompted. "As in well? Do you mean alive?" My eye raises to met his. "Same thing. Either way. I'm here to escort you back to the pack, dead or alive. I'd prefer alive though, so Damon I can have proof I can take care of his most prized possession." His face wrinkled regardless of being so young, especially around his cheek area whenever he smiled. "I doubt him his most prized possession." I snort. I was about to make another remark when I saw a new sparkling white roof and familiar banner and logo. "I am that one person he can't afford. What are you gazing at?" Caden had seemed to notice my lack of attention, diverted towards him. "Nothing." I shake off, as the image fades into another never-ending pathway of without-clothes trees. It's just some high school memories returning. "Oh yeah, I forgot to ask. What grade are you in?" "I'm done." "Yeah, I know every onus done with school, darling, but I mean." "I didn't mean that," I reply, rolling my eyes. "I meant I'm done with my education." "Say what now?" His unusual blend of eyes widening as he looked at me with frightening large eyes. He acted like I had casually asked him for a condom or something. "I am done my education. Or so I have been for a while," I said, looking out, but when I caught his eyes still glaring at me, I explained furthermore. "I graduated 2 years early, and if it weren't for my darling mate Damon, I'd be applying for a university somewhere in Italy." I sigh sadly from the thought of hot Italian guys and the sweet home of pasta and pizza. He looked at me as if I had lost my mind. So Damon had got himself a nerd. "Call me nerd one more time, and witness my wrath," I hiss, making him laugh, threatening me. "Sorry, I don't speak that," he mocked me. "Damon will have a fun time speaking geeky with you. Match made in heaven." "Fuck off, ass face," I say, using the term for Damon on Caden. "Dame I'm geeky." "No shit, princess." He grinned. He also finished his education early. "Didn't you know? Why, HES was done university by the age of 18. Youngest in America do so, I believe." I frowned from the thought of Damon in his grad attire and degree in one hand and the other around his presenter's pant. God knows what he might be had done to obtain that degree, and a man like him would have no problem cheating the government of education. That I was sure. We remained silent for rest of the journey, or about till after we crossed borders, back into Damon's territory. "Hey Caden, can you stop here for a second?" I ask, as a gas station in the middle of the woods came into view. He slowed the car, but asked after he killed the engine, "Why did you make me stop?" "I need to use the washroom, idiot. Stay here with your guards until I return, and don't think about surrounding the washroom." I exclaim as the car stopped dead and I hop out with my purse. I borrowed the keys from the old scrawny red head cashier and used the washroom into minutes flat. My tummy ached from the cramps and the thought of buying pain relievers was intriguing, but what would I explain to Caden? Tossing the idea in the bin. I handed back the keys. Muttering my gratitude, which she again ignored, I came back and opened the door myself and sat in. "Why so long?" he asked, raising an eye. "Quit your beta shit and drive already." I snap, feeling another crap on the way. I swear Mother Nature hates us women. Some owns PMSing. He murmured like jostling down a reminder, lightly turning on the engine. "I dare you to repeat that." I threatened with a sudden surge of energy, making him go mute. He drove silently again for about another 10 minutes. Seconds stretch out into minutes before Caden finally starts the radio. The song "Shout Out to My Ex" by Lil Mix could bursting on. Shout out to my ex. You're really quite the man. You made my heart break and that made me who I am. Here's to my ex. Hey, look at me now. Well, I am all the way up. I sing lightly under my breath. Did you had an ex? He asked smugly, lowering the volume to hear my response. Of course. I reply, fiddling with my necklace and looking out to the view. Who doesn't? Was it that lost Romeo-looking guy behind your oldest brother? He gasped, his voice rising from disbelief. What? No, not Jordan. I howled out, laughing from the thought. H.E.S. my practically another brother for me. That's how long I know him. H.E.S. also one of my brother's beta and my all-time best I.S. boyfriend. I couldn't cheat on her with him. Who said anything about telling her otherwise? He murmured after thinking longingly. Oh my go, Caden. Before I could complete the first line, the sight of a large red speeding pickup truck flashed from the corner of my eyes. I screamed Caden's name, but before he could either hear or react, the truck had already buried itself into the side of the SUV as fast as a bullet. It all happened so fast. I could recognize my voice when another scream erupted, as the glass shattered into tiny shards piercing both my jacket's fabric and skin. A cry escapes me as I squeezed my eyes tightly, readying myself for the pain to end. But instead I felt the world dissolve into a hot, stinging flash before the darkness welcomed me with its wide, cold arms extended forward.